If your department then deports anyone with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law, correct?
Joe Biden left us with...
I'm not asking about Joe Biden. I'm asking you a specific question.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem faced intense questioning during a heated congressional hearing after repeatedly refusing to give a direct yes or no answer to a basic legal question: whether deporting someone with an active asylum application violates federal law. Despite being asked multiple times, Noem avoided a clear response and instead shifted the discussion toward criticism of the Biden administration and broader immigration policy. Representative Dan Goldman pressed her on why she would not answer such a straightforward legal issue, escalating tensions in the hearing room as lawmakers demanded accountability and clarity on the department's...
So immigrants then with ongoing asylum applications are legally in this country, correct?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Your question was?
Immigrants with ongoing asylum applications are legally in this country.
There are individuals in this country that have applications that...
And they are legally here because it's a lawful pathway, right?
It's a lawful pathway.
Okay, so if your department then deports anyone with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law, correct?
Joe Biden left us with...
I'm not asking about Joe Biden. I'm asking you a specific question. If your department deports anyone with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law. Is that correct?
It was greatly violated when they allowed...
I'm asking you.
...people to come
I'm asking you.
Asylum applications.
Why are you filibustering? Why can't you answer the question? It's a simple question.
Your president...
If your department
and your secretary
deports anyone with an ongoing asylum application, you are violating the law. Isn't that correct?
The asylum program was broken under the last...
Mr. Chairman, I will reclaim my time. She's not answering the question. But the obvious answer is that, yes, if you follow a lawful pathway, asylum is a lawful pathway, if you have an open asylum case, you are here lawfully. But the problem that we are seeing around the country is that you are not following the law. Don't tell us to change the law. If you don't like the asylum system, you change the asylum law. Bring it to us. We'll work with you. I think it needs to be changed. But you can't just decide that you're not going to follow the law, and asylum is a law, and deport people who have ongoing applications. Unfortunately, that is exactly what's happening. It's happening across the street from my office right in New York City. Numerous, thousands of people who have come to court appearances, have left them with open asylum applications, have been arrested. And then they've been shipped off and many deported. In September, one applicant was ripped away from his wife and small children after such a court appearance. And then this happened to his wife. Please play the video. No, it's not. It's not this one. All right, it's not this video. Here it is.
I'm yours. Come on, man.
Now, after this incident, your department issued a statement that said the officer's conduct in this video is unacceptable and beneath the men and women of ICE. Our ICE law enforcement are held to the highest professional standards, and this officer is being relieved of current duties as we conduct a full investigation. 3 days later, you reinstated that officer and you put him back on duty. I sent you a letter and asked you what investigation was done and why was he reinstated. You did not answer that letter. So I'm going to give you an opportunity right here to explain to me that if that officer's conduct was, quote, beneath the men and women of ICE, unquote, why did you reinstate him?
Sir, that investigation was completed. I can give you that investigation and the information that you would like. This is...
Well, I wrote you 2 months ago. Why haven't you given it to me yet?
I'm actually surprised that you haven't gotten it. I'm going to ask my staff about that.
Well, you shouldn't be surprised because generally speaking, you do not respond to us.
Hundreds, if not thousands of your letters.
Now, the other problem that we are seeing all over the country is that your officers are wearing masks, are dressed in plain clothes, often going around without identification.
All of our officers are identified.
And I'm not asking a question. I introduced the No Secret Police Act to stop this. And we now have 113 co-sponsors so that they will not be masked and that they will identify themselves. Now, you say all of them are identifying themselves. That is not the case, because last month in New York City again, the NYPD officers were injured by your masked plainclothes ICE officers after they were called from 911 as residents witnessed your officers pulling individuals out of their vehicles and chasing them down the street. I also asked you what happened there. How were the NYPD officers injured by your officers? And you didn't respond. What's the answer?
Sir, our individual
Gentleman's
officers
time
are
is
identified.
time has expired. Mr. Guest, for 5 minutes.
Representative Dan Goldman delivered a relentless line of questioning to Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem during a tense hearing focused on immigration enforcement and asylum law. Goldman repeatedly asked a simple legal question. If someone has an active asylum application, would deporting them violate the law? Despite being asked multiple times, Noem refused to provide a direct yes or no answer. Goldman began by confirming that asylum is a lawful process under U.S. immigration law, and that individuals with pending asylum cases are legally permitted to remain in the country while their claims are reviewed. But when he pressed Noem on whether deporting those individuals would break the law, she repeatedly shifted the conversation toward criticism of the Biden administration and broader immigration policies instead of addressing the legal issue directly. Frustrated by the deflections, Goldman accused Noem of avoiding accountability and pointed out that disagreement with immigration policy does not give the government the authority to ignore existing law. He argued that if officials want changes to the asylum system, they must work through Congress rather than bypass legal protections already in place. Goldman then cited examples from New York City where asylum applicants attending scheduled court hearings were reportedly detained by ICE agents and deported despite having open cases. One case involved a man separated from his wife and young children after a court appearance. Goldman also referenced video footage showing an ICE officer forcefully handling the man's wife during the incident. After the video became public, DHS reportedly described the officer's actions as unacceptable and announced the officer will be removed pending investigation. However, Goldman revealed that just days later the officer had been reinstated. He noted that he had previously sent a letter requesting details about the investigation and reinstatement decision, but never received a response from DHS. The hearing also touched on concerns about ICE operations involving officers wearing masks and plain clothes without clear identification. Goldman introduced legislation known as a No Secret Police Act, which would require federal agents to visibly identify themselves and prohibit face coverings during enforcement operations. Goldman pointed to incidents in New York where residents called 911 after seeing unidentified agents pulling people from vehicles and chasing individuals through the streets. According to Goldman, confusion during one of those operations even resulted in injuries to NYPD officers responding to the scene. The exchange quickly became a broader debate about transparency, immigration enforcement practices, and whether federal agencies are operating within the boundaries of the law while carrying out deportations.
Chaos on Canal Street as immigration enforcement went sideways when swarms of New Yorkers stepped in to stop the sweep.
And I will not stand for it, and all of these people won't stand for it. We're New Yorkers.
Bystanders witnessing the roundup surrounded federal agents targeting vendors Tuesday on the famed Manhattan street. After arresting those in their crosshairs, the clash grew tense.
Horrifying because it was like more than 50 grown men pushing everybody out of the way.
People were tossed to the ground and hauled away for impeding the operation.
But several critical issues still remain unanswered. Lawmakers never received a clear explanation about whether deporting individuals with active asylum applications violates federal law. There was also no detailed account of what internal review led to the reinstatement of an officer whose behavior had previously been described by DHS itself as unacceptable. Questions also remain about incidents involving masked federal agents and how New York police officers ended up injured during enforcement operations. Representative Dan Goldman noted that multiple requests for information and oversight documents sent to the department reportedly received no response. These were not political gotcha questions or attempt to create viral moments. They were straightforward